Celebration erupts in Istanbul as Turkey's main opposition party declares victory in pivotal municipality elections. Big blow to President Erdogan, who says party to carry out self-critique.
Period of one-man rule is over as of today. It is done.
Gaza ceasefire talks resume in Cairo even as fighting rages around Gaza's biggest hospital. Hamas to skip talks as it waits for offer. Netanyahu vows to keep up military pressure on Hamas while showing flexibility in the talks. Reserve Bank of India enters its 90th year of monetary policy making and regulating banks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend celebrations recognizing its strong foundation. Indian Air Force to showcase its strength and preparedness at the crucial 10-day war game Gagan Shakti 2024, which begins today. Well, in details, in Turkey, the main opposition party secured substantial victories in Sunday's local elections, maintaining control over crucial cities. The results showcase the Republican People's Party retaining its grip on key urban areas. With most of the votes counted, CHP leader Ekrem İmamoğlu led by 10 percentage points in the mayoral race in Istanbul, Turkey's largest city, while his party retained Ankara and gained 15 other mayoral seats in cities nationwide, including Izmir and Bursa, Adana and the resort of Antalya.
Tam yol ileri demiştir. Emir verir, talimat verir. Bir kişi.
The nation itself gives the order and the instructions, not just one person. Officials receive instruction from the nation. Period of one-man rule is over as of today. It is done. The republic and democracy to go full speed ahead from now on.
Today, the voters made a very important decision. The election results showed that the voters decided to establish a new politics in Turkey. The voters decided to change the 22-year-old picture of Turkey and open the door to a new political climate in our country.
And supporters of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu celebrated following the results of local elections. The focal point of the electoral battle was Istanbul, a city of 16 million people, where Erdogan commenced his political journey as mayor in 1994. CHP's victory marked the worst defeat for Erdogan and his AK party in their more than 2 decades in power. In Ankara, a jubilant crowd congregated outside City Hall to celebrate Mayor and opposition candidate Mansur Yavaş's resounding victory, chanting slogans of pride for their mayor. Ankara is proud of you. Hundreds of Kurds living in the southeastern Diyarbakir city also took to the streets to celebrate after the pro-Kurdish DEM party managed to reclaim local municipalities across the region on Sunday. Well, the election results of Turkey's local polls were a major setback for President Tayyip Erdogan, since he had hoped to take back control of the city soon after clinching a third term as the president. For the first time since Erdogan came to power 21 years ago, AKP faced a defeat at the ballot box across the country. Acknowledging his historic defeat in the polls, President Erdogan said that the elections did not end as they had hoped. However, he said it would mark not an end for us, but rather a turning point.
March 31st is not an end for us, but a turning point. The Turkish nation has conveyed its message to population by using the ballot box in the March 31st municipal elections.
And moving on, Gaza ceasefire talks resumed once again in Cairo on Sunday, even as fighting rages around Gaza's biggest hospital, Al-Aqsa. Egypt is hosting an Israeli delegation for a new round of talks in a bid to secure a truce with Gaza's Hamas rulers. The talks resume even as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to keep up military pressure on Hamas while showing flexibility in the talks, saying that only that combination would bring about the release of hostages. Hamas would not be present at the talks in Cairo, as the groups would wait to hear from Cairo mediators on the outcome of their talks with Israel first. The two sides have stepped up negotiations mediated by Qatar and Egypt on a 6-week suspension of Israel's offensive in return for the proposed release of 40 or 130 hostages still held by Hamas fighters in Gaza. And India's Alex Kadia tells us what is expected from truce talks in Cairo.
Israel has sent a delegation. They will be discussing the matter with those mediating countries, Egypt, Qatar and the United States, of course, playing that crucial mediating role. But Hamas has decided not to send a delegation. We know that the last proposal put on the table by the United States, accepted by Israel, was rejected by Hamas because although they may be able to find an agreement on the release of hostages against Palestinian prisoners and a potential agreement on a ceasefire, the fundamental issue that remains with these ceasefire negotiations is that Israel's end goal is the complete eradication of Hamas, and Hamas, of course, does not want to reach that point, and therefore you have this fundamental issue that Hamas rejected the last proposal because they said Israel would not consider the full eventual withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, nor would they allow the full return of civilians to northern Gaza. So a lot of issues still to figure out, to work through, but that fundamental issue of Israel wanting the elimination of Hamas, but yet having to negotiate with Hamas for a ceasefire deal remains a real problem. But we've seen a lot of pressure on the Israeli government now by the families of those hostages protesting here in Tel Aviv just last night, saying that Prime Minister Netanyahu is standing in the way of a deal, is standing in the way of their loved ones coming home. So as those Israeli negotiators head to Cairo, a lot of pressure on their shoulders from the families of those hostages, Shabendu.
Also, Pope Francis called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and the release of all Israeli hostages. Amid renewed concerns about his health, Pope Francis presided over Easter Sunday Mass and delivered a major annual message that touched on conflicts across the globe with explicit appeals for peace in Israel, Gaza and Ukraine.
I appeal once again that access to humanitarian aid be ensured to Gaza and call once more for the prompt release of the hostages seized on last October 7 and for an immediate ceasefire in the Strip. Let us not allow the current hostilities to continue to have grave repercussions on the civil population, by now at the limit of its endurance, and above all on the children.
Well, a 3-ship convoy left a port in Cyprus on Saturday with 400 tons of food and other supplies for Gaza as concerns about hunger in the territory soar. World Central Kitchen said the vessels were carrying ready-to-eat items, canned products, flour, rice and dates to prepare more than 1 million meals. It was not clear when the ships would reach Gaza. The first ship earlier this month delivered 200 tons of food, water and other aid. The United Nations and partners have warned that famine could occur in devastated, largely isolated northern Gaza as early as this month. Humanitarian officials say deliveries by sea and air are not enough and that Israel must allow far more aid by road. The top UN court has ordered Israel to open more land crossings and take other measures to address the crisis. And Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas on Sunday swore in a new government headed by Mahmoud Mustafa, an ally to President Mahmoud Abbas. Mustafa formed a new cabinet in which he will also serve as foreign minister. He was appointed premier this month with a mandate to help reform the Palestinian Authority. He was also assigned to lead the relief and rebuilding of Gaza, which has been shattered by more than 5 months of war. Abbas appointed the new government in a demonstration of willingness to meet international demands for change in the administration. The new cabinet is made up of 23 ministers and 4 women and 6 ministers from Gaza will also include a state minister for relief affairs. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu underwent successful hernia surgery. According to a statement released by his office, the procedure ended successfully and Netanyahu is in good shape and beginning to recover. Netanyahu was diagnosed with a hernia during a routine examination on Saturday. He was placed under anesthesia for the procedure. Justice Minister Yariv Levin, who also holds the role of Deputy Prime Minister, filled Netanyahu's role temporarily while he was conked out. In a news conference ahead of the surgery, Netanyahu said he was optimistic about the results of the procedure and that he will return to work very quickly. This is Netanyahu's second surgery since returning to the premiership in late 2022. Alex Cardio also gives us an update on Netanyahu's surgery.
The routine medical checkup in the last day or so found a hernia that needed to be operated on today. So Prime Minister Netanyahu this evening gathering the war cabinet. And after the war cabinet meets, he will then be taken to undergo this hernia surgery. We understand that it is a fairly straightforward surgery, a fairly basic operation, but he will be under full anesthetic, which means his responsibilities will be passed on temporarily to the Deputy Prime Minister, who is also the Justice Minister of Israel, while Prime Minister Netanyahu is out of action in the operating theatre. So clearly, a development from the Prime Minister's office, who said that this was a routine checkup that led to this hernia being discovered, and therefore the Prime Minister will undergo surgery. Those crucial hours, though, will be interesting to see. And of course, speaking to medical sources, they say he will need to rest for a couple of days. So that's certainly something we'll be watching very closely here on DD India.
And moving on to Ukraine, where President Volodymyr Zelensky marked the second anniversary of the recapture of Kyiv region from Russian forces on Sunday. Zelensky paid tribute to those who died at the hands of Russian forces in the Kyiv suburb of Bucha 2 years ago. Speaking in front of the local residents and top officials, Zelensky held a minute of silence. The Ukrainian military recaptured the small towns of Irpin and Bucha outside Kyiv in late March 2022. Ukraine says Russian troops committed large-scale atrocities in Bucha, Irpin and other places in Kyiv region after their military retreat revealed ravaged streets with civilian bodies. And Russia has escalated attacks on Ukraine's energy sector. It conducted a massive strike on objects of energy infrastructure and the gas industry on Sunday. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has approved a decree outlining the routine spring conscription campaign, which includes 150,000 citizens for mandatory military service. More in this report.
Russia is on high alert following a mass shooting at a concert hall in Moscow on March 22nd. On Sunday, Russia conducted a counter-terrorism operation regime in the southern region of Dagestan. Security agencies detained 3 bandits who were planning a number of terrorist offences. On the other hand, Russian Air Force conducted a massive strike on objects of energy infrastructure and the gas industry in Ukraine. The Defense Ministry said that it used high-precision, long-range, air-based weapons and drones. As a result of this strike, the operation of defense industry enterprises involved in the manufacturing and repair of weapons, equipment and ammunition has been disrupted. All the goals of the strike have been achieved. Earlier on Friday, Russian missile and drone attacks hit thermal and hydropower plants in central and western Ukraine. The head of the Ukraine's largest private energy firm, DTEK, has said that 5 of its 6 plants had been damaged or destroyed, with 80% of its generating capacity lost after 2 weeks of Russian attacks, and that repairs could take up to 18 months. Ukrainian President Zelensky said Russia was carrying out vile strikes on the Ukrainian energy.
Russian
terrorists are now targeting such vile strikes to cause the energy bleeding of Ukraine. We gave all necessary signals to our partners, all the specific requests to everyone who has the necessary air defense systems, to everyone who has the necessary missiles.
Meanwhile, France will deliver hundreds of old armored vehicles and new surface-to-air missiles to Ukraine in its operation against Russia. According to French Defense Minister, Ukraine needs to defend a very long front line, which requires armored vehicles. As the conflict rages on, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree setting out the routine spring conscription campaign, calling up 150,000 citizens for statutory military service. In Russia, all men aged 18 and above are obligated to undergo a year-long military service or equivalent training during their higher education. Compulsory military service has always been a contentious topic in Russia, with many men going to tremendous efforts to avoid receiving conscription papers during the twice-yearly call-up periods. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on this edition of News Hour. Cleanup efforts underway to clean up thousands of tons of steel debris from the collapsed bridge in Baltimore's harbour. 7 minors injured in a shooting incident outside downtown Indianapolis Mall. And 2-kilometre-long table brings together Iftar and Easter celebrants in Antwerp in Belgium.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Kuran, and moving on, Maryland Governor Wes Moore on Sunday urged Republicans to work with Democrats to approve the federal funding needed for rebuilding the collapsed bridge in Baltimore's harbor and to get the port economy back on its feet. The Biden administration released $60 million in initial emergency aid on March 28th to assist in cleaning up the bridge debris and reopening the port. Federal officials have told Maryland lawmakers the final cost of rebuilding the bridge could soar to at least $2 billion. Well, efforts are underway to clean up thousands of tons of steel debris from the collapsed bridge in Baltimore's harbor. Equipment on hand includes 7 floating cranes, 10 tugboats, 9 barges, 8 salvage vessels and 5 Coast Guard boats. Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed earlier morning on March 26th, killing 6 road workers when a container ship nearly the size of the Eiffel Tower lost power and crashed into a support pylon. Much of the span crashed into the Patapsco River, blocking the Port of Baltimore's shipping channel. And in one of the U.S.'s latest mass shootings, 7 children between the ages of 12 and 17 were wounded. The shooting erupted outside a shopping mall in downtown Indianapolis late Saturday night. Deputy Chief of Operations for the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police told a news conference that the victims had been transferred to nearby hospitals and were in stable condition. According to Deputy Chief, officers who were in the area heard shots fired and found a large number of juveniles upon arriving at the scene near Circle Center Mall. Terry confirmed that more than 1 firearm was involved in the incident and said no suspect had been detained. The shooting is being investigated as of now. Well, several hailstorms and thunderstorms have battered large parts of China, sprucing the country's meteorological observatory to issue a blue alert for extreme weather for the following days. Thunderstorms, gales and hail swept the region with the maximum wind speed reaching 28.4 meters per second. Heavy gusts toppled greenhouses, trees and street lamps, causing an extensive damage to crops of rapeseed and corns. And Vietnam aims to protect its forest in 6 north-central provinces, for which it is taking help from the World Bank. The Asian country recently received $9.9 million from the World Bank, equating to 20% of the remaining amount from the Emissions Reduction Purchase Agreement for 2018 to 2024. The World Bank has previously disbursed $40 billion, equivalent to 80% of the agreement. The Vietnam Forest Protection and Development Fund has already disbursed Phase 1 funds to localities and made payments to forest owners. This sets the stage for Vietnam to launch a carbon credit market in the near future. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. South Koreans will go to the polls on April 10th in a parliamentary election to elect a 300-member National Assembly. As parliamentary and presidential elections are held separately in South Korea, President Yoon Suk-yeol's Conservative People Power Party faces an uphill battle to win back a majority now held by the opposition, gaping margin of defeat and looming existential crisis among the ruling party's leadership. French electrical equipment makers initiates growing investment opportunities brought by the accelerating global green transition. The company named Schneider Electric aims to fulfill its pledge to build a carbon-neutral value chain by 2040. The company's solid steps towards green transition for solutions to turbocharge sustainability transformation. Benefiting from zero tax on art trading, Hong Kong's industry sees a rising demand for art financing services in the city. Hong Kong has an advantage over some other countries in art trading since there is no tax on artwork and its logistics services. Local artists expand their business as they witness a spike in the demands on artwork. Thousands of Antwerp's residents came together to combine celebrations of Muslim Iftar and Christian Easter by sharing meal on a 2-kilometer-long table, thus breaking the record for the longest community dinner table in Belgium. The initiative, promoted by the city of Antwerp, was about inclusion and connection among cultures in times of tensions and polarization on a global level. And moving on, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has sharpened attack on the Congress for losing the Indian territory of Kachativu Island, says it has angered every Indian. The case concerns the decision of former Prime Minister and late Congress leader Indira Gandhi to hand over Kachativu to Sri Lanka in 1974.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a scathing attack on Congress party on Sunday. PM Modi alleged that Congress gave away Kachativu Island to Sri Lanka in 1974 during Indira Gandhi's regime after an RTI revealed the same. PM Modi quoted an article posted on social media platform X, and I quote, "New facts reveal how Congress callously gave away Kachativu. This has angered every Indian and reaffirmed in people's minds we cannot ever trust Congress. Weakening India's unity, integrity and interests has been Congress's way of working for 75 years and counting." The concerned article is published in a leading Indian daily, elaborates on the issue. The case concerns the decision of Indira Gandhi's government to hand over Kachativu to Sri Lanka in 1974. Records show rights over the island were enjoyed by an Indian ruler, Raja of Ramanad, from 1875 to 1948. In 1961, Pandit Nehru said he would not hesitate in giving up claims to Kachativu. This despite Attorney General M.C. Setalwad opining in 1960 that India's case was stronger than Lanka's. India lost the battle for control of the island in Park Strait to a smaller country determined to wrest it. Last year, on August 10, Prime Minister Narendra Modi targeted Congress party over the decision to hand over Kachativu Island to Sri Lanka. Responding to the no-confidence motion in the Parliament House on 10th of August 2023, the Congress party was accused of undermining the integrity and interests of the country.
डीएम के वाले, उनकी सरकार, उनके मुख्यमंत्री मुझे चिट्ठी लिखते हैं, अभी भी लिखते हैं और कहते हैं मोदी जी कच्छतीवू वापस ले आइए। एक कच्छतीवू है क्या? किसने किया? तमिलनाडु से आगे श्रीलंका के पहले एक टापू किसने किसी दूसरे देश को दे दिया था, कब दिया था, कहाँ गई थी? क्या ये भारत माता नहीं थी वहां? क्या वो मां भारती का अंग नहीं था? और इसको भी आपने तोड़ा। और कौन था उस समय? श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी के नेतृत्व में हुआ था।
Tamil Nadu BJP chief K. Annamalai, who filed the RTI in the matter, said Kachativu was historically an important part of Tamil Nadu and attacked the Congress party for always compromising of India's territorial integrity.
A historically important area of Tamil Nadu in which fishermen for thousands of years had, without any interruption, had fishing rights, was mysteriously ceded away in 1974. Congress, whenever they were in power in India, they had the least interest in securing India's border, territorial integrity and sovereignty.
It is true what Prime Minister had said. 1970, Mrs. Indira Gandhi had just given away Kachativu for her political reasons. And at that time, Mr. Kalaignar was the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. Because she scared him that she will take away his government, he had kept mum. And today, after even for 50 years, 55 years, the DMK again keeps saying that we will retrieve Kachativu. And after it's all empty rhetorics.
The issue of Kachativu is expected to come across as a big setback for the Congress party in the election season. Bureau Report, DD India.
And for more on this, we are joined by correspondent Anbarasan from Chennai. Well, Anbarasan, good morning. For the sake of our viewers, can you explain the Kachativu issue and also how will it reflect in Tamil Nadu Lok Sabha elections? Anbarasan, you're not audible right now. Can you hear me?
Said in the detailed report, we saw that the election is just scheduled 18 days. So the BJP state chief K. Annamalai yesterday has revealed the RTA reply from the Ministry of External Affairs, which is a detailed note that is a discussion on 1974, where the then Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi and the Sri Lankan President Srimava Bandaranaike, they have a pact regarding the Kachativu, which is a small island between Ramanathapuram and Sri Lanka, which is a 20 kilometer shore distance from the India. So this island is very much significant in the fishermen and also for the strategic importance for India, which is ceded over to Sri Lanka in 1974. That is why the Prime Minister also tweeted yesterday. So the last 75 years, the Congress government, which didn't care about the Indian sovereignty and also the borders. So, and BJP is escalated this issue in various occasions in Parliament. Also, Prime Minister has explained in last session. And this issue, Kachativu, has a significant history in 1974 onwards. And 2008, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, then former Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha, has put a case on Supreme Court to withdraw this pact between Sri Lanka and India. And this Kachativu island is very much important to the India and is historically very much connected to the Raja of Ramnad. So this island is always a historical part of India, and which is due to the political reason and the personal reason is given to the Sri Lanka. That is what the BJP is accusing. And reply to this, Congress State Chief Sella Perundagi has said that this issue has continuously last 10 years the BJP government didn't take any decision on that. Now due to the election is nearing, we are escalating this issue. And today BJP Chief K. Annamalai also revealing the second part of document, which is regarding to the discussion between the state government and then the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, where the discussion going between the state and center regarding this Kachativu. And also this issue always a political issue whenever the election is coming. So this kind of make very significant, and also the election is very nearing. ADMK, DMK and also the BJP, all three alliances are in full swing on the election campaigning across Tamil Nadu. Particularly yesterday, M.K. Stalin in political campaign in the western parts of Tamil Nadu, the Erode, Karur and Namakkal, he accused the Congress and also accused the BJP regarding that these issues and everything whenever the political election is nearing, the BJP is using, and they didn't do anything for the state, for the developmental issue. So these are overall issues, and this Kachativu is one of the politically important and also very much political is nearing, so the election is nearing, so it plays an important role on this upcoming Lok Sabha election. So it plays a significant role in that Sabha.
All right. And Barasan, also, what is the mood of the election campaign and how is the political situation there in Tamil Nadu?
As DMK and ADMK and BJP both all are in a triangular fight in Tamil Nadu Lok Sabha election in 39 constituency, and the BJP is standing alone with a major alliance partners like the PMK and all, and the ADMK also after breaking alliance with the BJP, and they are standing, and the DMK after came to the power in the state 2.5 years after, they are facing a very much anti-incumbency. That is what the ADMK and BJP said. Regarding of flood mismanagement and corruption and drug-related issues, this is continuously BJP is focusing on that. So this election is going to be a litmus test for all the parties, BJP, Congress, and BJP Congress alliance, and BJP DMK alliance, BJP and Congress and DMK alliance, and ADMK. So this election, because the ADMK also break alliance with the BJP, so ADMK also focusing on getting a more seat and also getting a more vote percentage, because the narrative of DMK and ADMK in the state, the BJP is continuously saying they are coming to the second level, second position. So this make a changeover for the upcoming assembly election in the 2026. So this election, Lok Sabha campaign, which is more or less setting a launchpad for the 2026 assembly election.
All right. Thank you so much, Anbarasan, for that information from there. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian Army tests the capability of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, striking the long-range target with precision and lethality. A 10-day-long war game, Gagan Shakti 2024 begins to test the Indian Air Force's preparedness to counter potential threats. And we get your report showing the rising participation of youth in the elections in India over the years.
As the cycle of accountability returns, the time has come when the biggest democracy chooses to write another chapter in its glorious history. Development, justice, regionalism, a big political canvas. Everything will be put to test in this mega battle for glory. DD India dissects what makes elections 2024 the battle royale in Indian politics. Data and analysis free from bias to help you understand why India matters. The Great Indian Election on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Moving on, the power of India's supersonic cruise missile BrahMos was witnessed during weekend over the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The Indian Army tested the capability of BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, striking the long-range target with precision and lethality. The long-range surface-to-air and air-to-air missiles were tested with state-of-the-art technology. During this time, the entire sky above the island group became as bright as day. The BrahMos supersonic cruise missile is a medium-range weapon that can be launched from ships, submarines, fighter aircraft or transporter erector launcher. Recognized as the best and fastest precision-guided weapon globally, BrahMos has significantly bolstered India's deterrence capabilities in the 21st century. And the Indian Air Force is conducting the Pan-India exercise Gagan Shakti from today. The aim of the exercise is to test the real-time coordination, deployment and employment of air power in a short and intense battle scenario. The IAF will be exercising its entire war-fighting machinery to validate its concept of operations and war-waging capability. The focus of the exercise is to check the viability of operational plans. Gagan Shakti 2024 will see the Air Force carry out drills in coordination with the Army and Navy. All fighter aircraft, newly inducted assets, transport aircrafts, radars, air defense systems will be utilized in a network-centric environment. The logistic stamina of the IAF and its ability to sustain continuous operations through day and night will be tested. Meanwhile, the Army Commanders Conference is currently underway in Delhi. The apex leadership of the Army is deliberating about the emerging threat scenario, operational challenges, reforms and plans for modernization. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be addressing the conference on Tuesday. One of the key items on the agenda will be cyber security, integration and other services and futuristic warfare technologies. Welfare of ex-servicemen, administrative and reforms will also figure. The Army Commanders Conference, the first for the year 2024, was held in virtual mode on March 28th, and thereafter the two-day physical mode begins on Monday. An arrested Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's custody with enforcement ends today. He will be produced before the city's Rouse Avenue court later today. The minister was arrested in the Delhi excise policy-linked money laundering case on 21st of March. The investigative team filed a remand request on Thursday, claiming they need more time to question Kejriwal. Well, India's Supreme Court will hear a petition filed by Maulana Kamaluddin Welfare Society seeking a stay on the survey being done by Archaeological Survey of India survey at Central India's Bhotshala monument. Earlier, the apex court declined to intervene with a recent order from the Madhya Pradesh High Court instructing the Archaeological Survey of India to conduct a survey of Bhotshala, an 11th century protected monument. The High Court allowed ASI to survey the monument based on evidence the petitioners presented in the court. Bhotshala is revered by Hindus as a temple dedicated to goddess Saraswati, while Muslims refer to it as Kamal Maula Mosque. And the Supreme Court will hear the petition of the Muslim side against worshipping in the Vyasji basement in the Gyanvapi complex in Uttar Pradesh. The High Court had dismissed the committee's plea in which it had challenged the District Court's January 31st order allowing Hindus to offer prayers in the cellar. The High Court ordered that worship will continue in the Vyas Khana of the mosque, which stands adjacent to the Kashi Vishwanath temple. A survey conducted by the Archaeological Survey of India on the court's order had suggested that the Gyanvapi mosque was constructed during Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb's rule over the remains of a Hindu empire. And now let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Well, BJP Manifesto Committee meeting will be held on Monday. The first meeting of the committee will be held at the Central BJP office under the chairmanship of Rajnath Singh. On Saturday, BJP National President JP Nadda had formed a 27-member Manifesto Committee for the Lok Sabha elections. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has been made the convener of this committee. On the other hand, Congress party is expected to announce the names of its Lok Sabha candidates for Bihar and Odisha on Monday. The Central Election Committee of the Congress met on March 31st to discuss the names. As part of the Grand Alliance with Rashtriya Janata Dal and the left parties, the Congress will contest on 9 Lok Sabha seats. In Odisha, names for 18 out of the 21 Lok Sabha seats are said to have been discussed. So far, the Congress has announced the names of 211 candidates. Well, a total of over 1.064 million advance applications from the age groups of 17 and above. In fact, from those who would just be eligible for voting in 2024 have been received by the Election Commission of India. The participation of youth in the elections in India has seen a rise over the years. Here's a report.
इतना कुछ किस लिए?
Image building. What else?
पर वोट नहीं डाला आपने.
वोट क्या फायदा?
नेशन बिल्डिंग. और हाँ, इसमें इतना टाइम भी नहीं लगता.
ख्याल बदलेगा तभी तो देश बदलेगा.
Renowned actor Rajkumar Rao attempting to encourage young voters to perform the most important duty of a democratic nation, casting the vote in elections. Himself a young actor, Rajkumar took over as national icon for voter awareness and education for the Election Commission of India in October 2023. The video is part of Election Commission of India's campaign Mera Pehla Vote Desh Ke Liye, that is, my first vote for the nation.
Calling upon the 200 million voters in the age group of 18 to 29 years to vote and be part of the largest democratic exercise.
In April 2023, India surpassed China to become the most populous nation in the world. And this also brings into focus the immense demographic dividend that India is all set to reap. An overwhelming majority of India's 1.4 billion plus population is below 35 years of age. The same youthful energy will also reflect in this 2024 general polls too.
India has witnessed an increase of 6% in registered voters as compared to 2019, and the share of young voters can't be overlooked. Over 20 million young electors spanning the age groups between 18 to 19 years and 20 to 29 years have been added to the electoral rolls. As per ECI data, electors under the age group of 18 to 19 years are 18.5 million. The corresponding figure in 2019 was 15 million. Voters under the age groups of 20 to 29 years are 197.4 million.
To facilitate youth enrollment at the constituency level, Special Assistant Electoral Registration Officers or AEROs were appointed for the registrations. Youth were enrolled directly from educational institutions, fostering greater civic engagement among the younger populace. The surge in numbers is also reflected in the Indian political matrix. Political parties in India have started focusing more on issues relevant to the youth, such as education, employment, and technology. The emergence of young leaders in politics has also inspired other young people to engage in the political process. When youth see themselves represented in political leadership positions, they are more likely to believe that their voices matter and that they can make a difference through electoral participation. While there has been progress in increasing youth participation in elections in India, continued efforts from political parties, civil society organizations, educational institutions, and the government are essential to sustain and enhance youth engagement in the democratic process. Bureau Report, DD India.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. At least 5 people were killed and hundreds were injured in India's West Bengal after a cyclone hit the city of Jalpaiguri. Several houses were damaged as strong winds uprooted trees and electric poles. Affected individuals have been shifted to safer locations and authorities are on ground for aid and relief work. A new scheme to promote electric mobility in India will come into force from Monday and continue till the end of July. The scheme by the Ministry of Heavy Industries aims to encourage the purchase of electric vehicles. It will provide 500 crore rupees for electric two-wheelers and three-wheelers. As many as 19 traditional products and crafts of northeastern state of Assam, including Bihu Dhol, Japi and several items of the Bodo community have been accorded the geographical indication tag. 13 of these products are specifically linked to the Bodos, who form the largest tribal group in the state. The Airport Authority of India is marking its 29th annual day. To commemorate the occasion, an event was held along with an award ceremony. The Indore Airport was awarded the Best Airport of the Year among the AAI airports. Chairman of AAI, Sanjeev Kumar, also extended his wishes as he hosted the chairman's dinner on the eve on Sunday. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In Indian Premier League, Gujarat Titans registered a 7-wicket win over Sunrisers Hyderabad. Flawless Jannik Sinner wins the Miami Open for the first time and rises to world number 2. And highly anticipated Hockey India's 6th Annual Awards 2023 took place in New Delhi on Sunday.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. Lipakshi Khurana. And moving on, the Reserve Bank of India marks a significant milestone as it celebrates its 90th anniversary today. RBI is organising a commemorative event in Mumbai on the 1st of April. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the event.
The inception of the Reserve Bank of India marked a critical juncture in India's economic history, with the aim of centralizing the control of currency and credit under a single authority. Established on April 1, 1935, the RBI has played a pivotal role in shaping India's economic landscape and financial system over the decades.
The role and responsibilities of RBI as a central bank is perhaps one of the widest among the central banks, and there is a good reason for it, because each function of Reserve Bank is linked to other functions. So there are lots of complementarities between the functions of the Reserve Bank, which help the Reserve Bank to take a holistic view of the financial stability situation, the financial conditions of the country, and take appropriate steps in the best interest of economy and also to maintain financial stability and price stability.
To mark the occasion, RBI is organizing a commemorative event in Mumbai on 1st April. There will be year-long events and campaigns held to financially educate and empower common citizens.
But throughout the year, we have planned several events, the highlights of which include 2 international conferences on relevant topics. Then we propose to hold an All India quiz competition among college students. We also propose to organize campaigns in many parts of the country to promote financial inclusion.
Throughout its journey, the RBI has achieved several milestones that have had a profound impact on India's economy. These include the introduction of the Indian rupee symbol, the liberalization of financial sector in the 1990s, and the implementation of innovative policies to combat economic challenges. As the RBI enters its 90th year, it faces new challenges and opportunities in an increasingly complex global economic landscape. These include addressing emerging risks such as cyber threats, strengthening regulatory frameworks, and leveraging technology to enhance efficacy and transparency in financial services. Additionally, the RBI's initiative in promoting financial inclusion, enhancing banking infrastructure, and regulating the financial sector have been instrumental in driving inclusive growth across the country.
As we celebrate the 90th year anniversary milestone, it is imperative to recognize the Reserve Bank of India's invaluable contributions to India's growth story and advocate its continued endeavors in ensuring monetary stability, financial inclusion and sustainable development. Shama Mishra, DD India, Mumbai.
Well, the dollar was broadly steady on Monday as data showing easing U.S. prices bets that the Federal Reserve could cut interest rates in June, while the yen lingered near 152 per dollar, keeping traders on edge on the threat of intervention. The personal consumption expenditures price index rose 0.3% in February, compared with the 0.4% rise that economists polled. Spotlight in the currency market has been on the yen as it's moved towards levels last seen in 1990, revives the threat of intervention by Japanese authorities. In other currencies, the euro was 0.06% higher at $1.07945, hovering near its more than 1 month low. Sterling was at $1.2637, up 0.12% on the day. The dollar index eased 0.038% to 104.42, but remained close to the 6-week high of 104.73 it touched last week. The yen touched a 34-year low against the dollar of 151.975 on Wednesday. Well, the business sentiment among other major Japanese non-manufacturers improved in the first quarter to the highest level in more than 3 decades. Meanwhile, big manufacturers' sentiment soared for the first time in 4 quarters due in part to auto production disruptions. The outcome is one of several factors the Bank of Japan will scrutinize at its next meeting on the April 25th and 26th, when it will issue new quarterly growth and inflation forecast. According to a survey, the headline sentiment index for big manufacturers stood at +11 in March from +13 in December. The index gauging big non-manufacturer sentiment improved to +34 in March from +32 3 months ago. The survey found that both major infrastructure manufacturers and non-manufacturers expect conditions to worsen over the next 3 months. And Thailand's economic growth is expected at 2.8% this year before accelerating to 3.0% in 2025, the World Bank said on Monday. The growth outlook for 2024 and 2025 was reduced from 3.2% and 3.1% respectively, as forecasted in December. Southeast Asia's second largest economy expanded 1.9% in 2023. World Bank predicts tourism and private consumption to be key growth drivers, and tourist arrivals projected to reach 90% of pre-pandemic levels this year. While you're watching DD India News Hour, time now for some sports news. Gujarat Titans registered a 7-wicket win over Sunrisers Hyderabad at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad on Sunday to take their second win of the tournament. GT managed to limit SRH to 162 for 8 in 20 overs thanks to Mohit Sharma's 3-wicket haul before chasing down the target with 5 balls to spare. Sai Sudarshan top scored with 45, while David Miller and Shubman Gill chipped in with knocks of 44 and 36 respectively. Earlier, Sunrisers Hyderabad captain Pat Cummins won the toss and elected to bat first. Most of the batters got starts but failed to convert them into big scores. Heinrich Kiasen blasted 24 of 13 balls before missing a straighter one from leg spinner Rashid Khan to be bowled at a crucial juncture. Abhishek Sharma scored 29 in 20 balls while Abdul Samad hit 29 of 14 balls. Mohit Sharma was the pick of the bowlers with 3 wickets. And Mumbai Indians will face Rajasthan Royals at the iconic Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai on Monday. Mumbai Indians have had a terrible start to their season under new captain Hardik Pandya. They lost to Gujarat Titans in their opening game by 6 runs in Ahmedabad. In their second encounter, they conceded a record 277 run in their 20 overs against Sunrisers Hyderabad before being restricted to 246 for 5 in Hyderabad. After 2 disappointing results, Mumbai will be playing in front of their home fans for the first time. It will be interesting to see the reception Hardik gets at the ground, which is the home of Rohit Sharma, who the all-rounder replaced as MI skipper. While Rajasthan Royals are 2 of the 3 unbeaten sides in IPL 2024 thus far, they started with a 20-run win against Lucknow Super Giants in Jaipur. In their second game, Sanju Samson and company got the better of Delhi Capitals in a tight affair. And Pakistan Cricket Board on Sunday reappointed Babar Azam as white ball captain in the latest of a series of changes to get the team back on track for this year's 2020 World Cup. Azam stepped down as the captain from all three formats in November last year after Pakistan crashed out of the 50-over World Cup in the first round in India. Pakistan battled a disastrous World Cup in India last year where they failed to qualify for the semi-finals. Afterwards, Azam stepped down from the captaincy of all formats and was replaced by Shan Masood as Test captain and Shaheen Shah Afridi as T20 international captain. And in tennis, Italy's Jannik Sinner won the ATP Miami Open Masters 1000 title on Sunday. Sinner dominated Grigor Dimitrov 6-3, 6-1 to win the Miami Open for the first time and rise to world number 2. The Australian Open champion, who scooped a second Masters 1000 title following his success in Canada last year, has won 25 of his last 26 matches and has only lost 3 times since last year's US Open. The 22-year-old will take over the world number 2 ranking from his rival Carlos Alcaraz on Monday. And the highly anticipated Hockey India 6th Annual Awards 2023 took place in New Delhi on Sunday, where the National Federation celebrated India's best hockey stars, officials and legends of the sports. The ceremony saw the presence of some of the biggest names in Indian hockey. Cultural programs were also on display at the ceremony.
Sharma, who has also completed 100 international caps against Netherlands during the Federation International Tournament held in Cairo. Sumit has completed 100 international caps against China during Hero Asian Champions Trophy, Chennai international caps against Korea during Hero Asian Champions Trophy, chaps against Italy during FIH Hockey Olympic Qualifiers Ranchi 2024 held in Ranchi, Jharkhand on 16th during FIH Hockey Pro League 2023-24, 3rd February 2024.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Vipakshi Kuran from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.